All right, well, we want to head back to the Capitol right now, where, as you can see, Governor Shapiro is making a statement about the budget. Let's listen in.
An outstanding leader for the House Democrats, and who was the primary negotiator for the House, and that is Leader Matt Bradford. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to thank the other leaders who are not with us this evening, especially Leader Pittman, who led the negotiations quite ably in the Pennsylvania Senate. We're all better off for his hard work. I want to thank the dedicated staff in our administration and from the legislature who worked extremely long nights. They forwent sleep, and they spent a whole lot of time away from home and their families and loved ones to get this done. I know that the House and Senate have incredible staff, and we had the opportunity to work alongside them. I want to give special thanks to a few members of my team: Zach Reber, Secretary Ori Monson, Secretary T.J. Yablonsky, and the person who has been by my side for more than a dozen years, our Chief of Staff, Dana Fritz. Thank you. Throughout this process, everyone came to the table with a willingness to have hard conversations, find compromise, and get stuff done. We trusted one another, and we listened to one another, and we understood one another. This budget is a major victory for the people we were all elected to serve, the good people of Pennsylvania. You know, I spent a lot of time outside this building in Pennsylvanians' neighborhoods and towns, listening to them. And while the landscapes may look different, people from all different walks of life, from rural, urban, and suburban communities, folks basically want the same four things. They want good schools for their kids and grandkids. They want safe communities. They want economic opportunity. And they want the real freedom to chart their own course and the opportunity to succeed right here in Pennsylvania. This bipartisan budget that I am about to sign delivers on all four of those common sense Pennsylvania priorities. So let's start with education. Last year, the court ruled that all parties have to come together to deliver adequate and equitable education for our children. We began that work in our first budget when we delivered an historic amount for our public schools. This budget continues that progress and goes a hell of a lot further. This budget, for the first time ever, will invest over $11 billion in K-12 public education here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, let me put that in some perspective for everybody. That is $1.1 billion more than we invested last year, a record amount. But we're not just delivering more funding. We're also fixing how we drive that money out to our schools. Consider this: 65% of all of this new money to our schools will be driven out under a new formula that drives those dollars into the districts that need it most, the districts that have been chronically underfunded. That's never happened before. Advocates and some elected leaders, including the three leaders who sit before me this afternoon, this evening, well, they have fought for that formula for decades. And you know what? Together, we got it done. This is a huge win, and I'm committed to building on that progress for many years to come. On top of that, on top of the dollars that just flow to our schools, guess what? Kids are still going to get free breakfast when they show up for school in the morning. Students are still going to get the mental health supports that they need to succeed. And we're going to continue to invest more resources in repairing and upgrading our schools and our school infrastructure so that our schools are safe year-round. But our investments in education, they are not confined to just K-12 classrooms. We're also making sure that our students get a great start by delivering meaningful increases in early childhood education, including pre-K counts and Head Start. And as those kids enjoy their summer breaks right now, and some of them begin their life after school, we're making sure they have safer streets and safe communities to live in. This budget builds on the progress that we made last year, providing funds to hire an additional 400 state troopers across Pennsylvania. All told, on our collective watch, that means 800 new state troopers that we have funded over the last 2 years. And we're investing more in PSP to help them modernize their vehicle fleet and implement common sense public safety initiatives like body-worn cameras now being deployed all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And it's not just with PSP. We're also investing in the well-being of our corrections officers to create a better environment for them and for those behind bars in our prisons. We have to invest in well-trained, well-equipped law enforcement. But hear me on this. We also have to invest in our communities and the folks on the ground who are doing the violence prevention work every single day. That's why we secured a 40% increase for violence intervention and prevention initiatives that includes $11.5 million in new funding for after-school programs to keep kids safe and off the street and provide them real opportunity going forward. That investment will complement the work Lieutenant Governor Davis will lead through the Pennsylvania Office of Gun Violence Prevention. The LG has experienced firsthand the impacts of gun violence. These initiatives were priorities of his, and we fought hard to make sure they were in this final budget that I am about to sign. Listen, Pennsylvanians should be able to walk down the street in their neighborhood, free from fear. I've walked down those streets with Chairman Hughes. We know that people crave that safety, and we're delivering on that promise to them. They deserve to both be safe and feel safe in their communities, and we're delivering for them. Our budget also delivers opportunity, economic opportunity. For the first time in 20 years, we have a strategic plan to grow our economy, to foster innovation, create jobs, and to compete again. Since day one, we have been aggressively pursuing companies, and we've been winning. But as I've said, in order to win more of these deals and create more jobs and more opportunity, well, we have to invest. You've heard me talk about this. And this budget does exactly that, with massive new investments in economic development that will create economic opportunities for communities all across Pennsylvania. From a new initiative to invest $20 million in our main streets, to millions in marketing to drive our tourism industry and set folks up for their own great American getaway right here in Pennsylvania. From innovating on our farms to taking vacant land and turning piles of abandoned dirt into real jobs. Crucially, it makes an unprecedented $500 million investment in site development, so we have pads ready for businesses that want to come here to Pennsylvania. These unprecedented investments will help us execute our economic development strategy. We're creating real opportunity, not just for our businesses, but for Pennsylvanians who need a little bit of extra help. We've been laser focused, all of us here, on cutting costs for seniors and families to give them more freedom and more opportunity in this economy. Last year, we cut taxes for seniors for the first time in 2 decades, and we passed an historic tax cut for families with children in childcare. Well, this budget continues that cost-cutting commitment for our fellow Pennsylvanians. For parents trying to afford childcare or saving up maybe to put their kid in college, we've created 2 new tax credits to help you out. For Pennsylvanians paying interest on their student loan debt, well, now you have to pay less in taxes. And for our neighbors in Western Pennsylvania, out where Senator Costa lives in that area, who received government assistance and that we fought hard for after the Norfolk Southern train derailment in East Palestine, those payments will now not be subjected to the personal income tax here in Pennsylvania. That's on top of our continued commitment to continue to cut the corporate net income tax in Pennsylvania and make us far more competitive in this economy. And for the first time, we have a major expansion of the net operating loss deduction to catch up with 40 other states across the country and help startups right here in Pennsylvania get off the ground and compete. Look, Pennsylvanians in every community, in every background, they deserve more freedom to chart their own course, more opportunity to succeed. Our loved ones and neighbors with intellectual disabilities, well, they deserve to live with dignity and to have the supports that they need to succeed. This budget delivers an historic amount for them and begins the process of finally ending the wait list for services that they need. You know, I have been moved to tears over these years when these good folks who would walk into our offices and wheel themselves into our offices with tremendous courage, only to be ignored months later when a final budget was passed. Tonight, when I called a bunch of those families to tell them about the unprecedented investment that these leaders helped bring about, I was moved to tears again. But this time, it was tears of joy. Tears of joy, because we got this done together for them. We respect our loved ones with intellectual disabilities. The IDA community was finally heard in these halls of power. Our veterans deserve more opportunities. So we're building a new outreach center at Fort Indian Town Gap. Those struggling to find housing deserve more opportunities, so we're increasing the fair funding cap to help build more affordable housing and apartments, and we are making sure
Again, you are listening to Governor Josh Shapiro in his remarks. He is officially about to be signing the state budget any moment. Of course, we'll have a complete wrap on what this means on our website, fox43.com, and again, starting at 5 a.m. on Fox 43 Morning News.